Awesome. I'm so stinking excited for tonight. We have an absolute powerhouse on here to talk to us about all of the things. And so, Sam, if you want to go ahead and unmute yourself and just give us a little bit about your story and your journey with the business so far.
Hi guys. All right, so ignore the fact that I'm orange. I literally just got a spray tan today and I need to shower it off yet. I'm like looking at myself, I look like I'm blue. But anyway, so I'm Sam Bowers. I am a presidential diamond out of Pennsylvania. I've been with It Works. It'll be 9 years in March. I joined because my husband and I literally could not pay the bills. We were kind of playing roulette with which bills we were going to pay. And it was just a cycle that we couldn't get out of. And we just went month to month, barely able to make it. It got so bad that I was actually borrowing money from my kids to buy them food. So we got together back when I was 22 and he was 25. And we got pregnant with our son together 2 months into dating. My husband had a son as well, who was 4 at the time. So our life just kind of went like on the fast track right away. And it was super hard to figure out how we were going to be able to not only feed the family that we had just started, but be able to continue a life where we weren't struggling every single month. We ended up getting pregnant with our daughter then 2 years after our son. So it literally was just debt snowball. I went on bed rest with both of them, both of those pregnancies. And I was let go from my jobs. I was barely making money. My husband was working. He was not my husband at the time, he was my fiance, but we just were struggling really bad. And we're both college dropouts. I'm a legit beauty school dropout. And we just couldn't figure out how we we're going to make more money. So I was able to score a management job at Outback Steakhouse. I'm sure you guys have all heard of it. And I was making decent money, but one thing that always bothered me was my male counterparts always made way more than I did. And I'm talking $10,000 to $15,000 a year more than I did. And I worked harder than them. I was smarter than them. And I was like, this is not the way that it's going to be. Like, I need to be able to make more money than them. So I found It Works while I was working at Outback. I actually got my hands on the skinny wraps. And I was a 25-year-old young mom at the time. You put a skinny wrap on me and tell me that I'm going to lose inches in minutes. I'm like, heck yeah, sign me up. So I put one on in the office at work. I wore it while I was bartending and I saw results immediately. And I was like, okay, I want to continue to use these. So I was like wrapping every week and buying wraps from this girl that I worked with. And she kept asking me into the business and I kept shutting her down because I was like, I'm not going to do that. I tried 31. Did anybody ever sell 31 bags before? Sold that, spent more money on the bags than I ever made. So I was like, I'm not doing that again. Like my husband is not going to agree to it. I sucked at it the last time. Like, it's just not for me. So about a year later, I was laying in bed and my husband and I had like the fight of all fights about money. So drop me a 1 if you fight with your spouse or your significant other about finances. So it was so bad that we actually talked about separating. And I was not really into my faith at the time like I am now. And I laid in bed and I was like, all right, I need to pray. I need to pray. I haven't prayed in a long time. Like I'm a baptized Christian, but I just didn't really follow that as much as I should have at the time. But I was like, I need something. So I laid in bed and I was like, dear God, give me a sign. I need something. Something needs to change. I'm going to take the next sign that you give me as the path that I need to take. And you guys are all going to get chills when I say this. 2 minutes later, my enroller popped in my inbox for the 75th time in a year. 2 minutes later, I'm not even kidding you. Hadn't talked to her in weeks. And it was March 31st. It was end of month for her. She was going for a diamond promotion. She needed one more distributor to fill a 400 box. And it was me. So I came into this business not knowing what I needed to do. She filled my volume the first month because she was going for a promotion. I was like, all right, like we make paychecks without doing anything. Wrong. I quickly learned that if I wasn't going to actually work the business myself, I was not going to make any money. So I had asked her, like, what do I need to do? How do I go Ruby? Because everybody was talking about going Ruby, but nobody knew what going Ruby meant. Well, I didn't know. So she kind of got me on a FaceTime. She explained to me. And as soon as she gave me that path or that tool, that guide, we call it the Ruby roadmap on my team. As soon as she gave me that, I hit the ground running. working. And I have always been that type of person that if you give me a goal or you give me the tools to get somewhere, I am just going to take off with it. So, a little bit about kind of my rankings and promotions real quick. 3 months to Ruby, 5 months to Emerald, 2 years to Diamond. I went double Diamond the month after. 3.5 years in, I went triple Diamond, and 4 years in, I went Prez. I was pregnant with our 4th baby together when I promoted to triple. I promoted 2 months after I found out that we were pregnant, and I promoted to presidential 6 months later, the month after I had our 4th child. So if you think that having a lot of kids, being pregnant, on bed rest, all those things, whatever your excuse is valid enough to keep you from working your business, you are absolutely wrong. So I'm here now. I am going for ambassador, and I will hit it before I hit 9 years. And you know what? I could not be more excited for the team that I have right now and the team that is going to be going to ambassador with me. So that's me.
I absolutely love that. And I love that it is such a journey. Sometimes we love to put a timeline on success and be like, if I'm not here by this point in time, I didn't do it. And I love that, you have such longevity in this business at almost 9 years that you're like, it took me time for different things. And as long as you're still in it and you're still showing up, like you're still doing it. You're still working towards your ambassador team whenever that happens for you. And I love that, like how it just falls together. And I do want to ask you a couple questions about your Ruby roadmap. But before we jump into the team aspect of this, I want to pick your brain a little bit on the personal, because you're winning on both sides. You're growing your personal business with strength, but you're also having those team wins. And that's really the combination for a successful business, is being able to show up for yourself, but also be able to teach and duplicate that. So I want to talk about your personal enrollments, because I know me and you talked briefly when we were talking about getting on this Zoom. I love that last month you were announced not only as a distributor and top enroller, but a customer top enroller too. Guys, she was blowing it out of the water with like 20 some distributor enrollments and 40 some personal customer enrollments as well. So what does your typical day look like? How are you getting in so many conversations? What is your system? Give us some of those beats.
I would love to. So for me personally, I am really systematic when it comes to my business. I'm all over the place when it comes to life and unorganized. I actually have adult ADHD, so I'm like scatterbrain. So when it comes to the business, I have to know exactly what I'm doing every single day, and I have to focus on what works. Remember that key phrase, focus on what works. I take out all of the extras. I take out all of the things that I feel like I don't necessarily need to be doing, and I focus on the things that I know bring in enrollments. So the 2 things that work the most for me, and I'm sure you guys have probably seen it, I do Reels and TikToks. That is number 1. Number 2 is Post to Post. Post to Post is Old Faithful. I will never stray from it unless it dead stops working. But I went from being paid as an Emerald all the way to Presidential Diamond on Host to Post on Facebook. Now I do it on both Instagram and Facebook. But it works. It's the fastest way you will ever possibly grow your network. Both of those things together, the Reels and the Host to Post. I'm really systematic with having a certain task list that I follow. So I break my day, and you guys have probably heard this from other leaders, but guys, it works so well. I break my day into 3 shifts. There's a morning shift, there's an afternoon, and there's a PM. The morning and the afternoon for me take the longest and have the bulk of my day in them, because my oldest child is 18 now, but our other 3 are in school full time. So during the day for me is when I am able to get the bulk of my work done. It is uninterrupted. My husband goes to his part-time job. I'm able to just focus. But I do have people on my team that are teachers. They work full time. They have kids that are home with them. So their schedule looks a little bit different, and that's okay. You have to look at how your day is going to work out and how you're able to fit the tasks in. So I do not go to bed until my list is done. Did you hear that? I do not go to bed until my list is done. I don't care if it is 2 o'clock in the morning. I make sure that list is done. Do you know why? Because it works, pays for every single thing in my life. And if I do not work my business, I do not eat. I do not have a roof over my head. I do not have a vehicle to drive. Probably wouldn't have half of the things that I have. So I make sure that I get those things done. So if you're kind of like, I don't know what's working, what do I do? Where do I go? Because we've all been there, right? Post a post and Reels. If you do 2 things for your business, those would be the 2 that I would do.
I love that. So you work pretty evenly on both Facebook and Instagram, or do you have one that's like more of a favorite?
I've always been pretty heavy on Facebook. It's just kind of like my baby, and Instagram is kind of like the stepchild. I love Facebook because it's easier to see who people really are. I feel like on Facebook for me. And on Instagram, it's kind of like quick, like speed dating. Like Instagram is like romancing people, or Facebook's like romancing people to, and Instagram's like speed date. So I like Instagram because it's easier to reach out to people on that platform. People are faster to buy things on there, I feel, than on Facebook. So it really depends on your preference. If you would rather just like have quick conversations, then I would go with Instagram. And I didn't have Instagram at all when I first started this business. I just had Facebook. So TikTok, obviously brand new, as well as Insta.
I love it. So I am not an Instagram person. So I want to pick your brain a little bit. How do you do your host to post for Instagram? I know you say you just kind of started doing that. How does that look for you?
So I just kind of changed the method that I've been doing. I've been doing them. I want to say it's almost 2 years now that I've been doing them, but I've been the most consistent in this season. I always start out on TikTok. So I make all of my reels and my videos on TikTok. And then I take them over to Instagram. I like to edit on TikTok. It's easier for me. And I like to get them up on TikTok so I can filter people over to the other platform. So it usually starts with a giveaway video. I have 2 TikToks. I'm kind of building another second account. Don't do that unless like you need to. But I start with a giveaway on both of those accounts. And then the comments from there, I'm replying to people and telling them to message me on my Instagram to confirm their entry. And then once they message me on Instagram, then I have them share a reel that is on Instagram to their story for me. And that's how they confirm their entry. Usually I'll do either an opportunity reel, a product, or a giveaway. So that way I'm getting the word out there about my business or the giveaway, and I'm able to enter them into the drawing. And then 2 days later, I actually usually end up asking them into the business. So I use TikTok as a funnel, and I use Host to Post as a funnel as well to add more people to my list.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I have never thought about having them share a reel to their story. That's also then driving more traffic to your page. Like, I love that. I'm about to start doing that. That is just such a easy system.
And it
And
makes
then
it
what
like a one message. Sorry. It makes it like, so you're not sending like, hey, do you want to confirm your entry? Okay, here's a story slide. Okay, here's the word. No, it literally is one message, link to the reel is in it, send it off, done.
That's just so simple. I love that. And so you're obviously then getting some potential distributors by coming back to them 2 days later. Are you doing that same kind of system on Facebook to attract distributors? Do you do like 2 days later? And then I'm assuming on Facebook, we're bringing customers from those host to post, and then of course, just through the reels on all the platforms, right?
Yes. So the biggest thing that I'm doing, well, obviously the 2 days later with on Instagram, but on Facebook, I do it when I check the host to post for comments. Then I'm usually asking the posters into the business. So the message is a little bit different on Facebook just because they're actually putting a post up that's getting comments. So the wording's different. But I make sure that I literally ask every single person into the business. Like I've signed 3 distributors today and I have the 4th one on my website right now. Like it is a system of having more. We want abundance in this business. The more that you have coming in, the more conversations that you're going to have, and the more people you're going to sign. The more host to post you get up, the more reels you get up, the more asks you get out, the more reach outs you get out, the more you're going to be enrolling. So if you're sitting there struggling, if you're sitting there thinking this isn't working, how am I not doing what other people are doing? I guarantee you it's because we are pushing ourselves to do more. And when I said earlier about focusing on the right tasks, if you only have a certain amount of time, focus on more host to post or focus on more reels. So that's how you're going to be able to do what the mass enrollers are doing.
I love that. And I like
I
that
was
you
trying
mentioned
to
that you
think
have
too,
to.
guys. I don't know if you can see it, but my word for 2024, I already did my board, is abundance. Like it's already back there, and abundance means more. Like that's more.
I love it. And I like that you were talking about that because so often I feel like we almost think like people like we look at and we're like, oh, they're just lucky. And I like that you're like, no, you do more. And because that means, guys, that it's duplicatable. That means that every single one of you, we have 93 people on right now. Every single one of you can have mass enrollments in your business. Every single one of you can see that growth because you're doing the things, you just do more of them. It's so simple. I love it. So can you give me a quick run through of what your potential distributor conversation flow kind of looks like?
Yes. So, first message is obviously, hey, can I tell you more about making money from social media with me? Like, I just short and sweet. As soon as they say yes, my next message is I literally tell them in that first message that I am with It Works. I get that out of the way right away. I don't hold that back because I don't want to continue on with that conversation if someone is either not into network marketing, not into It Works, or whatever it is. Like, I let them know upfront foremost. Because they're not for me. If my business is not for them, they are not for me, and I'm not going to continue that conversation. So It Works is like the second thing. Third message, I give them a little bit more detail about what I do, like about posting on social media, about sending people to my website when they're ready to sign up. Third message is like a 3-minute video about me and my personal story. And the reason I do that is I was sitting on the Winter Circle Island with our CEO and his wife at the time. And John looked at me and my husband and said, we're not here to sell products. We're not here to sell the business. We are here to sell the dream. So I took that and I was like, all right, I am going to tell people my story because if they can relate to my story, they're going to want to do this business too. So short video about my story. Then I ask if they have any questions, and then I go over the kits and we sign them up.
I love it. Simple and straightforward. So not only are you bringing in a bunch of distributors, I mean, 3 already today and 1 on your website, like, girl, you're killing it. But these people, you're taking care of them and doing it on a mass scale. And I feel like that's something we got to talk about because sometimes we can get so overwhelmed on bringing people in that we forget that it's not about quantity all the time. It's got to be about the quality too. So you're already weeding them out. You're making sure that you give them the right information. You're letting them know from the get-go, all the things. So once you get them in, how are you plugging them into your Ruby roadmap? I know you're going to talk about it some at Green Carpet, but we want to know a little too. And how are you getting them plugged into that and helping them duplicate those same successes in their business?
Heck yeah. So for my team, first I'll tell you I'm super annoying. I'm in their inbox all the time. Like, hey, how are you? Hey, what are you doing? Hey, can we work on this? Like, I'm going to be that girl because if you come to me and you tell me that you want to make some money and you tell me why, I'm not going to let you give up on that dream. You're going to give up far before I give up on you. So from that point, we then go right through their training, which gets them to know what the 4-in-1 is because we know the 4-in-1 goes into what builds a Ruby. So we have that as part of our like steps. We have like 4 days to launch a distributor, and the Ruby is part of that, and just going over what it takes. Basically, I break down what a Ruby takes. So the 3 distributors, it takes 2,000 in volume. We break down that 2,000 in volume by how much is needed per day. So whether you want to go Ruby in a month, 2 months, or 3 months, I take that 2,000 volume and break it apart by orders. So we do gummy host to post on my team. That is what I teach from the very beginning. And I show them if you sign customers for 2 bottles of gummies plus an aloe add-on, that's 80 BV. And if you sign 25 of those 80 BV, 30, 60, or 90 days, doesn't matter. If you're not trying to be a mass enroller in a month, that's cool. That is a Ruby. That 3 distributors and selling 25 of those bundles is a Ruby. So I make it as simple as humanly possible for them, and I give them every single tool that they need.
I love that. I like that you just simplify it. And like you were saying with yourself, like when you were just kind of here and floating until someone gave you a roadmap and they were like, do this. And it was simple, it wasn't overcomplicated, and it allowed you to really take off your business. Now we're duplicating that, which is so exciting. So we've got about 10 minutes left. So I've got 2 questions for you to wrap this up. One, we're going into Green Carpet and we are so stinking excited. What do you got to say to everyone to get them ready now? What do they need to be doing right now to get prepared and be ready to go for Green Carpet?
Yes. So I'll tell you as much as I can with not telling you what I can't tell you. Number 1, I would be pushing our hair care big time, wink, wink. So I would be pushing those gummies, pushing those serums. If you don't already have them, I would have them on their way to you if you can. And I would really be having those conversations about the thicker and about our serum just to kind of prepare you. I would really be starting to talk to as many potential distributors as you want, because you are going to want to have those people in your back pocket. So you're able to bring them onto your team and you are able to get them running. So I've been telling my team, we really want to fill our funnel with those potential customers so we have plenty of people to follow up with. And then we want to make sure that we have the distributors coming in so we are able to get them running right away to start to claim some things that are coming. So get those pages of your potentials full and start to really follow up with those distributors, because you want to get them in the system as soon as possible.
I love it. And one of my favorite questions to ask is, if you could go back in time and tell Sam at the beginning of her business one thing that you now know with experience for all this time, what would you go back and say? Because I know we've got a really young team. We've got a lot of new people in here. What would you go back in time and tell yourself?
I would definitely go tell myself to listen to my leaders more and plug in as much as possible. My upline quit when I wasn't even an emerald, so she quit at diamond, and I took to YouTube. I listened to all these top leaders and tried to find the ones where they were actually telling you what they were doing. They were showing us the messages they were sending us. They were showing us how they were enrolling. And that's how I was able to continue to propel my business. So if you feel like you are stuck, if you're struggling, if you're kind of lost, because we've all been there, and maybe you feel like what you're doing right now is not working, like drop me a 2 if you're like, it's just not working the way that I want it to be working. I just got on this Zoom tonight and I told you to get your videos up, get your reels and your TikToks up, and to start doing host to post. If you feel like you don't have enough people to host a post for you, you better get some giveaway posts up. And I always tell my team, if you feel like you're struggling with people to talk to, go find your friends that have 1,000 or more friends on their page and ask them to post giveaways. And from those giveaway posts, that's where you're going to get those product and opportunity posts up. So just start to really grow that network so you have more people coming in and get those reels up. Because the more eyeballs you have on your page, the more people you have seeing your posts, and the more people you have ultimately getting into your inbox.
That is so good. And it is true, guys. If you want this, you're going to go out there and you're going to make it happen. You have to remove all of the excuses. So what? Your upline quit. So what? Find YouTube, build your business anyway. I didn't have an upline and I went to YouTube as well and was able to promote quickly because I kept looking. As Sam was saying, this is simple. She's got 2 things for you to completely change your business. Get serious and committed to host a post. Get serious and committed to your reels. And also get committed to your work. We've been talking all month, well, the past few months, because we're doing the shifted task list as well, about like how doing the work here and there, isn't it? It's the consistency is really where you're going to see the difference. She's saying that she doesn't go to bed until this is done. Imagine what your business would look like if you didn't go to bed until your work was done. You would see so much growth so quickly by just being committed to the things you said you were going to do. So, Sam, do you got any last thoughts, advice, anything that you want to leave us with?
The biggest thing that I'm going to tell you guys is to get over yourselves. There's probably something that you are not regretting, putting off doing, you are not wanting to do. I have a girl on my team, I hope she's listening, I think she's on, who hates messaging because she has a fear of rejection and she's afraid of what they're going to say back to her. And I straight up, because this girl's going double diamond right now, I flat out told her, if they're mean to you, if they say something back that you don't want to hear, block them and move on. There are millions of people on Facebook. So don't be afraid to send those reach outs. Don't be afraid to send those host to post asks, because even if people just aren't receptive to it, move on and find somebody else. So get over yourself.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Thank you so much for taking time out right before we're all about to travel. We appreciate your time so much. So I'm going to go ahead and pray us out. And then next week, guys, we'll be back at our normal time at 9:30. So, dear Lord Jesus, thank you so much for this space and for this group. where we can continue to meet every week, where we can grow more in our knowledge of business, ourselves, and hopefully a little closer to you as well. We are so excited for everything that you are doing in each of their lives and in their businesses. And we're just waiting expectantly in this season. We're ready to put our hands to as much as we can so that when the rain comes, our gardens flourish. We know that you are working behind the scenes to move mountains and do miracles. And we are so excited to be on this journey. In Jesus' name, amen. I love you guys. Thank you again, Sam, and we will see you guys back on next week.